According to the butterfly effect, even a single insignificant choice could alter the fate of humanity, a phenomenon Dodd Campbell personally considered to be a rather shitty one. After all, he'd already made several choices in his life he deeply regretted. At that moment, the sharp voice of Elnor cut through the air. She called out to him, "Honey, honey, are you listening?" She wasn't one to be ignored, and Dodd knew it. She added that she knew he was inside, and it would be best for him to open the door. Apparently, she'd already confirmed with Ophelia, the lodge's housemaster, that he didn't have any classes scheduled for the day. Her question was heavy with meaning. Was he really planning to ignore her until the very end? Dodd muttered to himself, recognizing her persistence for what it was. No other stalker like her existed. And yet Elnor's voice persisted, announcing her next step without hesitation. If he wouldn't open the door, she'd cut her way through. This woman's crazy, Dodd thought bitterly. Wasn't that against the rules? He reminded himself that the student council president was responsible for carrying out punishments against anyone breaking school regulations, but that was where his luck ran out. Elnor smugly declared that unfortunately for him, she was the president of the student council. She wasn't done. She accused him of avoiding her lately. To be specific, 32 times. "You were counting?" Dodd muttered, horrified. And then came the blow. Elnor, without even a hint of hesitation, asked him a question that made his blood run cold. "Will you marry me?" "What are you talking about, Princess Tristan?" Dodd blurted out, but he barely had time to process the madness before another voice entered the fray. Saris appeared like a shadow, the disdain thick in her tone as she remarked how audacious it was for Elnor to covet a man already taken. "Is that how your family works?" she taunted. Elnor didn't flinch. Instead, she coolly noted that the place was far too bright for an assassin and warned that there would be too many witnesses. Saris replied in kind, declaring that killing all witnesses was her creed. Dodd was deeply uncomfortable now, completely overwhelmed by the chaos. He hadn't even begun to think about marriage, and yet here he was, stuck in a whirlwind of declarations. But it didn't stop. Another figure made her appearance, Ulu, her tone casual but firm as she addressed him. "Hey Dodd, live with me. The wedding preparations are pretty much set, so all you need to do now is come with me." And still, it wasn't over. Uria's voice cut through next, scolding him for surrounding himself with such snobs. As his fiancée, she wasn't going to let this disgrace slide. Then Fainal's sharp tone followed, clearly annoyed. She snapped at the others, calling them jealous women and reminding them all that Dodd Campbell was hers. At this point, the situation had devolved into a competition. Each one of them was utterly delusional, insistent on claiming him for themselves, demanding that he choose them while rejecting the rest. And Dodd, stuck in the middle of it, couldn't take it anymore. "Why are you people talking shit by yourselves?" Dodd Campbell found himself wondering, how had it come to this again? Right, it was the survival game that led him here, Savior Rising, or SR for short. On the surface, it was a youthful academy story aimed at fresh-faced young adults, filled with characters that gave off a somewhat weeaboo vibe, but were ultimately stable and familiar. Like always, he'd cleared the game and watched the ending, felt that tiny flicker of accomplishment, then put it down. That should have been it. But the next day, something swept him away. Ta-da! And here he was. It made no sense, at least not in any way he could explain. It wasn't like he'd cursed at the game or had been targeted by some goo-like developer lurking behind the screen. He wasn't even especially attached to the game's protagonist, and yet, somehow, he had possessed the body of Dodd Campbell, a complete nobody in this world. The heir of a minor Viscount family, Dodd had no power, no special traits. A third-rate extra in a world where farming was the Campbell Viscounty's main industry. There were no dungeons here, unlike the rest of the Empire, and Dodd's home barely earned a passing mention in Savior Rising's feature film. A Viscount's son entering Elfante Academy, the Empire's elite school, was an event shocking enough to turn heads. His father had seen him off that morning. "You're finally leaving, Dodd." "Yes, father, I'll be going," Dodd replied. "You're the pride of the Viscounty. Take care. And don't cause any trouble. Elfante is a place where the Empire's noble children are gathered. The best thing a Viscount's son like you can do is not attract attention, okay? I said I understand. But even as a veteran gamer, Dodd had never seen starting stats this garbage. According to the game's rules, if you ignored a quest, it was game over. And Elfante Academy was destined to descend into chaos thanks to the violence of its villains. Still, he made a vow to himself. Don't worry, father. I won't do anything to endanger my survival. I'll do my best not to draw anyone's attention. I'll avoid nurturing pointless dreams about raising our Viscounty's reputation, and I'll even keep my grades solidly below average. Of course, that wasn't quite what he meant. Wasn't the protagonist supposed to handle everything on her own while he slipped by unnoticed? That was how a professional loner should navigate academy life. Yet from the very start, things went sideways. Why, of all people, was he in the same carriage as her? Elnor. Bloodthirsty Elnor, the one whose path was paved with mountains of corpses. Elnor Elinari's La Tristan, final boss of this damned world. In the game's scenarios, she and the protagonist would battle endlessly until Elnor's sanity shattered. The dormant gray demon would awaken, devouring her body and turning her into a monster only the fully leveled up protagonist could face. Elnor peered at him, her gaze sharp but oddly concerned. Do you need a doctor? Your complexion doesn't look good. No, I'm okay, he muttered. She explained herself, noting that the Tristan dukedom was keen to make their marriage alliance appear unthreatening. Sitting here in economy class rather than first was a calculated move to show the dukedom's approachable nature. I'm sorry for worrying you, she said softly. Everyone who travels with me seems to make the same face. Dodd blinked. She wasn't like he remembered. The game had described Elnori as a meritocratic, perfectionist, audacious woman. But this was different. What was this sensitive side supposed to mean? Why aren't you replying? Are you curious about something else? Elnor asked. No, it's nothing. You're unexpectedly kind. Unexpectedly? She raised an eyebrow. Did you hear bad things about me? Have we perhaps met before? Realizing his blunder, Dodd backtracked. I'm insane. I heard you were quite strict. She stared at him for a moment before smiling faintly. You're a strange person. Yeah, well, I hear that a lot. Desperately, Dodd tried to remind himself. I'm an extra. Don't get involved. Don't get involved. He turned to the window, trying to admire the surrounding scenery. The rolling hills, the clear sky, the massive boulder barreling toward them. Wait, what the fuck? The student council president? He wasn't built for this. Armor recognition and creation for adult skeletons? Elnor was carrying those? His stats were garbage. All F. No way he was surviving this. Dodd Campbell found himself wondering, how had it come to this again? Right, it was the survival game that led him here. Savior Rising, or SR for short. On the surface, it was a youthful academy story aimed at fresh-faced young adults, filled with characters that gave off a somewhat weeaboo vibe, but were ultimately stable and familiar. Like always, he'd cleared the game and watched the ending, felt that tiny flicker of accomplishment, then put it down. That should have been it. But the next day, something swept him away. Ta-da! And here he was. It made no sense, at least not in any way he could explain. It wasn't like he'd cursed at the game or had been targeted by some goo-like developer lurking behind the screen. He wasn't even especially attached to the game's protagonist, and yet, somehow, he had possessed the body of Dodd Campbell, a complete nobody in this world. The heir of a minor Viscount family, Dodd, no special traits. A third-rate extra in a world where farming was the Campbell Viscounty's main industry. There were no dungeons here, unlike the rest of the Empire, and barely earned a passing mention in Savior Rising's feature film. A Viscount's son entering Elfante Academy, the Empire's elite school, was an event shocking enough to turn heads. His father had seen him off that morning. You're finally leaving, Dodd. Yes, father, I'll be going, Dodd replied. You're the pride of the Viscounty. Take care. And don't cause any trouble. Elfante is a place where the Empire's noble children are gathered. The best thing a Viscount's son like you can do is not attract attention, okay? I said I understand. But even as a veteran gamer, Dodd had never seen starting stats this garbage. According to the game's rules, if you ignored a quest, it was game over. And Elfante Academy was destined to descend into chaos thanks to the violence of its villains. Still, he made a vow to himself. Don't worry, Father. I won't do anything to endanger my survival. I'll do my best not to draw anyone's attention. I'll avoid nurturing pointless dreams about raising our Vice County's reputation. And I'll even keep my grades solidly below average. Of course, that wasn't quite what he meant. Wasn't the protagonist supposed to handle everything on her own while he slipped by unnoticed? That was how a professional loner should navigate academy life. Yet from the very start, things went sideways. Why, of all people, was he in the same carriage as her? Elnor. Bloodthirsty Elnor, the one whose path was paved with mountains of corpses. Elnor Elinari's La Tristan, final boss of this damned world. In the game's scenarios, she and the protagonist would battle endlessly until Elnor's sanity shattered. The dormant gray demon would awaken, devouring her body and turning her into a monster only the fully leveled up protagonist could face. Elnor peered at him, her gaze sharp but oddly concerned. Do you need a doctor? Your complexion doesn't look good. No, I'm okay, he muttered. She explained herself, noting that the Tristan dukedom was keen to make their marriage alliance appear unthreatening. Sitting here in economy class rather than first was a calculated move to show the dukedom's approachable nature. I'm sorry for worrying you, she said softly. Everyone who travels with me seems to make the same face. Dodd blinked. She wasn't like he remembered. The game had described Elnori as a meritocratic, perfectionist, audacious woman. But this was different. What was this sensitive side supposed to mean? Why aren't you replying? Are you curious about something else? Dodd Campbell asked himself the only reasonable question for his situation. Am I fucked? At that very moment, Count Cretan and Marquise Galantier had arrived at the academy, heightening the already tense atmosphere. A girl muttered irritably about the one person still missing. Is she out of her mind? The entrance duels are ongoing, but how can she be late? When is Lady Tristan going to arrive? I've got a lot to ask her, but where the hell has she been? Elnore, unbothered as always, answered casually. She'd been taking care of some things. The girl wasn't convinced. Sorry, but I think she and I have to deal with something. Is anyone dead? Elnora asked, her tone almost bored. Not many. Just around 12. Unfazed, Elnor explained that those 12 had been assassins targeting her. They'd dropped a boulder on the academy train and tried to pass it off as an accident. She'd figured out who they were, and since she'd happened to be nearby, she simply killed them. The girl sighed. You should have left something like that to the school. That's annoying. Or do you expect me to be just and perfect like everyone else? Someone who'd forgive those trying to kill me? All right, but get changed first. The entrance duels are ongoing. If you go now, you'll see Aaliyah, the one-in-a-million genius. Elia Crixanax and... Wait, Dodd Campbell? What the hell is this? Dodd Campbell? Elnor's eyes narrowed. Yeah, him. How do you know him? He seems completely unremarkable. That guy is quite odd. Meanwhile, back at the dueling grounds, Dodd was surrounded by mocking voices. Go, you country bumpkin! One sneered. Another chuckled. How many moves will he last? Moves, my ass. He'd be lucky not to get injured. Dodd kept his thoughts to himself. My stats are absolute garbage. If I get hit even once, I might as well be dead. But maybe this isn't bad. This has to be a dangerous situation, right? I've got nothing to lose. The villains I'll face later are likely here somewhere. If I don't die now, at least I'll draw their interest. With that information advantage and the buffs I can snag, I might actually survive. Elia, standing opposite him, raised a brow. Hey, be honest with me. You're really weak, right? I'm right, aren't I? Dodd blinked. I was going to give you a beatdown, but at this rate... She trailed off. Beatdown? Me? Why? You were with that Tristan girl, right? I hate her. Not just her, but the entire Tristan house. They're demons. Dodd couldn't even falter. She wasn't wrong. According to the story, Aaliyah had deep grudges against the Tristans. He understood. It was finally turning into drama. I was only in the same room with her, though. But you still remind me of her. You piss me off. So I was going to make you hurt, but should we just pretend to fight? Honestly, that sounded appealing. But Dodd knew better. If I don't grow in the next 2 days, my life's in danger. The only way for me to survive is to be noticed now. This is my only chance. I think you can go all out, he told her. Elia frowned. Are you serious? Of course I'm lying. But he kept a straight face. If you really want to give it your all, this is the only way. As serious as your hate for her. So what? I'm not going to feel bad about this. The duel began. Elia lunged, and Dodd dodged instinctively. She blinked in surprise. Oh? You dodged that, so you're not a complete weakling. Then I'll go a little harder. Dangerous situation detected. Danger not life-threatening. Desperate survival activated. Rank. EX. EX. Rank? Isn't that the highest rank? In that moment, Dodd struck her. Not a lucky blow, but a real solid hit. The crowd gasped. Within minutes, whispers spread across the stands. Dodd Campbell, ranked F in every stat on his first day at Elefante Academy, had just subdued the world's main character. Someone spoke up. The first possibility is that this Dodd kid's a proficient fraud. A student named Conrad wasn't convinced. Your opinion changed quickly. Either way, it doesn't make sense, another girl muttered. Conrad addressed them all. All of you must know he had absolutely no combat skills or powers before the duel, but that strike was definitely real. What do you mean by real? I'm saying nobody in Elefante would be okay after taking that hit, starting with me. The chances of him beating a potential future warrior like Elia Crixanax were zero. But either through an illegal substance, a tool, or some unknown method, he managed to increase his power temporarily. The other possibility is that he's an absolutely monstrous genius. But it's difficult to accept his victory as is, the girl added. Margrave Kindred, Elia's sponsor, won't let this slide. Conrad shrugged. It'd be a great loss for the academy to ignore a student with potential. It'll be obvious soon if he's a fraud, she said. There are a lot of interesting new admissions this year, some unique enough to need special treatment. If this student's something special like you claim, I'm sure there'll be a role for him to play. Later, Dodd stared down at a newspaper in his room, bewildered. The news both back where I was and here, are they seriously? He opened the profile related to his gift. The progression was simple. Curiosity became interest. Interest became trust. The points he received could be spent in the store. Unsurprisingly, the one with the highest curiosity was Elnor. But why? The final boss shouldn't have any interest in me. Not now. Among the items he'd received was the Tristan sword technique, famed in the Empire, and cursed, given the house's demonic dealings. But Dodd didn't care anymore. Fuck it, whatever. The gifts are only for villains with positive interest in me, but she isn't one and definitely doesn't like me. A knock at the door interrupted his spiraling thoughts. A familiar voice followed. Is this Dodd Campbell's room? Dodd froze. That voice. It's Elia Crixanax. May I come in? He briefly considered pretending he wasn't home. Maybe she'll go away if I just stay quiet. Sir, I know you're in there, she called again. If you don't answer, I'm going to break down this door. Are you insane? Dodd shouted. So you're in there. Her voice sounded smug. Could you open the door? I have something to tell you. What would it be? Just things, so we can get to know each other a little better. Dodd stared at the door. What the fuck's going on? Elia sighed in frustration. He should have just gone with it. Uptight idiot. There was something off about that Dodd Campbell, and she couldn't figure out how to even begin befriending him. Her thoughts scattered when her foot caught on a pouch bag in the hallway. Watch where you're going, came a calm voice. Elia looked up to see Elnor standing there, poised as ever. Elia began. Are you hurt? Elnor asked with a tilt of her head. Elia's instincts screamed at her to run. Without thinking, her hand flew to her sword hilt. She wondered if, at her current level, she had even the slightest chance of defeating Elnor Tristan. But what truly unnerved her was that Elnor wasn't even reacting to the movement. She must have seen my hand go for my sword. So why's she not even acknowledging it? Elia's pride bristled at the implication. Is she insinuating she doesn't even need to react to me? Give that back, Elnor said calmly, referring to the pouch. Annoyed, Elia tossed it over. Here, take it. As she turned away, her thoughts lingered on one thing. How exactly was Dodd Campbell involved with this woman? It didn't make sense. She needed to get to his room. Take a right through this hallway to reach Dodd Campbell's room, she muttered as she passed. Elnor halted, brow raised. Wait, how do you know where his room is? I was with him all this time till now, Elia replied. For what purpose? For friendship. Among new students. New students are forbidden to mingle with the opposite sex, Elnor stated coolly. Forbidden? Is there a rule like that? Elia frowned. I just made one. You're no longer permitted to visit his room. Sorry, but what relationship do you have with him, President? He's nothing to me. However, be sure to remember what I just told you. Elia narrowed her eyes. Elnora was lying. There was something going on between those two. She recalled Dodd's earlier words, as serious as you hate her. Even if it was only for information, she decided she should continue getting close to him. The next day, it was time for the class assignment exam of Elefante Academy, a system designed to meticulously evaluate every student's abilities. The announcer explained how students would be divided into groups after one-on-one duels. Dodd, because he'd somehow managed to beat down a warrior candidate, found himself assigned to the highest level group. Everyone else looked proud to be there. He was the only one who looked like a dead man walking. The biggest problem was her. The girl he'd shoved away yesterday was in the same group, and somehow her interest in him had increased. Thinking back, there were snacks and little notes delivered to his room at night. Someone's stalking me now? Why is all this happening to me? Group 1's turn arrived. Focus on the next exam, Dodd reminded himself. It shouldn't be too eventful. This is part of the main scenario after all. But his hopes were crushed the moment the exam leader was introduced. Nice to meet you. I'm Elnore, the one in charge of this exam. Dodd stiffened. This can't be a coincidence. The Elnore event was supposed to happen today. But why is she literally in charge of us? There's no way this goes smoothly. Conrad, watching from the sidelines, voiced what others were thinking. If Dodd was truly such a genius that he could subdue a warrior candidate, it would be interesting to see how he performed in the class assignment exam. He suggested having the student council president oversee it personally, just in case. Let's move to the exam area first, Elnor instructed. I'll take questions once we're there. Luca looked around in awe. Wow, they must have put a lot of effort into this. Be quiet and follow Luca, someone else grumbled. The students murmured amongst themselves as they entered the dimly lit, eerie exam area. The lights abruptly went out. Hey, Elia called out. You said you'd take questions after coming here, right? Is this part of the exam? A voice replied, claiming to answer that the entrance was sealed and the lights were out. Dodd's stomach twisted. This is a trap, not a test. Someone tried to reassure them. They'll take care of it, don't worry. A girl suggested they move. No one had any idea what might happen here, but Dodd, who had spent countless hours with this scenario in the game, recognized the faces around him. These guys, they're the members of the main character's future party. If I remember correctly, this is where they all first meet, which means the people in this room are all critical to the story. Dodd spoke up loudly, taking command. I think the central hall is the most reasonable place to move to. Everyone turned toward him. There's a map there. Equipment, rescue supplies. Most importantly, it's a large area, way easier to defend against ambushes than these tight halls. He glanced at Elnor and Elia. You both must have felt it too. We aren't the only ones here. I'll go this way, he announced, pointing away from the central hall. Why? Elia demanded. Because it's necessary. Still, why? That's completely away from the central hall. I can't say it right now, but it's important. I'll explain properly later. Yeah, it's really important. Like staying alive. Nothing's more important than that. He sighed inwardly as the others bought his reasoning. Phew, it worked. Maybe taking down Elia gave my words some credibility. I just need to hide until this event ends. The assassination targets Elnor anyway. No one should be paying attention to me. I'll just head to a quiet corner and burn some time. But fate had other plans. A voice called out from the shadows. "Hey, you there!" Dodd tensed. A man in maintenance clothes stepped closer. "I'm here to fix the power issue. Can you guide me? My eyesight isn't great in the dark." Dangerous situation detected. Somewhere else in the building, a worried voice spoke up. "Hey, Aaliyah, do you think Dodd will be okay by himself? What if something happens to him?" Aaliyah barely glanced over. "He must have a plan, whatever he's up to. Anyway, looks like something's about to happen to us." She wasn't wrong. Meanwhile, the assassin, hidden within the shadows, observed his prey. The advance party was already wiped out by that devilish woman, but none of that matters if I'm here. His gaze settled on Dodd. Even this guy got tricked so easily. A professional like me can gauge someone's level just by watching their movements. This guy's a rookie. I'll play around a bit before I kill him. I'll take his body and eliminate Lady Tristan. Now it's time I reward you with death." Dodd exhaled in relief. "Oh, thank goodness. As expected, it's you, Hasmed. If it were anyone remotely stronger, I could have been in trouble. Seriously, I'm relieved." He chuckled to himself. "Your walking motion, your rhinitis, same old guy I remember." The assassin blinked. What the hell is he saying? I'm lost for words. He scoffed, dismissing him. Still, he's nothing but a weakling. I'll end him instantly. The fight began. Elsewhere, Aaliyah was already moving. "Palkas! Freeze these guys! What about Elnori?" At the far end of the hall, Elnor was busy reducing her attackers to unconscious piles on the floor. Calm, ruthless, efficient. "Are there any more deployed besides you people?" she demanded, her boot pressing into a man's head. The man grit his teeth. "I can't tell you that." She crouched lower, voice sharp. "Is the assassin currently present?" When he hesitated, she applied pressure. His resistance crumbled. "Yes, he came with us," Elia called over. "What's driving you to go for that guy?" "They tried to kill me," Elnora answered coolly. "And Hasmed of the Crescent Moon is an assassin who can assume someone else's appearance by killing them. So tell me, who do you think is the easiest target for him in this building right now?" Elia froze. "Come to think of it, there's only one person. Could it be?" The realization struck. Dodd's using himself as bait to lure out the strongest enemy. "They're assassins after you," Elia muttered. "Why is he going this far? What's his relationship with you?" "I told you, he's nothing to me," Elnori said flatly. "As far as I know, at least." Back at the fight, Hasmed gritted his teeth. "I am a professional assassin. Guardian Soul is supposed to be a non-slashing barrier that only reacts to weaponry. So why is it here of all places?" He cursed under his breath. "The school is ancient and full of weird relics, so maybe that makes sense. No matter, an assassin is a weapon themselves." He lunged again, only to be countered. The duel between Hasmed and Dowd intensified. It didn't take long for the assassin to realize something was wrong. The Tristan sword technique. Hasmed cursed himself. "I shouldn't have messed with him. This wasn't what I expected. He was baiting me the whole time. Who the hell is this guy?" Deadly charm activated. The assassin felt a strange, grudging awe for the boy's calculated plan. Dodd smirked. "Thanks to the game system, you can use a weapon at the save points. That's why I lured you here." Hasmed spat blood. "I guess you have no intention of answering my question. Fine then. Kill me." "I don't intend to kill you." "Why?" "I want you to spread the word. Tell the others not to get close to Lady Tristan. And mention that even an assassin of your caliber almost died trying." Hasmed narrowed his eyes. "I don't know who made the request, but it's very likely they'll keep trying." "What then? If that happens, the chance of Elnori's gray demon being unleashed will rise." "I know," Dodd replied. "That's why I'm trying to shut it down from the start. And what if I come back later?" "Then try me again," Dodd said calmly, "because I'll still be protecting her next time." "Is Lady Tristan that important to you?" "Let's say she is." Deadly charm activated again. The assassin's hostility faltered, something between admiration and irritation flickering in his expression. At that moment, Elnori entered the room. her gaze locking instantly onto Dodd and the defeated assassin. It was a complete mess. The Academy was in shambles after the failed assassination attempt, and it wasn't surprising that the Chancellor was furious. The political undercurrents around Eleanor Tristan were always volatile, but this second attempt made one thing clear. Someone was determined to see her dead. An official muttered while pacing through the blood-smeared halls. I understand why the Chancellor's mad, but tracking down the organizer immediately? I already have a mountain of work on my plate. It's all but confirmed there's a spy within the Academy considering the route and timing of the ambush. His tone grew grim. I know Eleanor's used to political maneuvers aimed her way, but this incident feels different. Whoever was behind it isn't done yet. And those with her, they were all commemorated despite being subdued without casualties. Except one, Dodd Campbell. No records of commendation. None. It's as if he's actively trying to stay out of the academic teams. When word of this reached Eleanor, her response was typically unreadable. I wonder. Her companion, thoroughly fed up, shot her a glare. I swear to God, if you say, I wonder one more time. Go ahead, Eleanor replied, unbothered. The girl hurled something small at her in frustration. What's your problem lately? What do you mean? You've been out of it all day. You haven't been able to focus at all. I don't know what it is, but if you don't tell me, I'm done helping you. A rare flicker of hesitation crossed Eleanor's face. I feel like there's someone I've grown interested in. The girl gawked. What? I said, I feel like there's someone I've grown interested in. Who? You literally brought him up just now. Her friend's eyes widened. Dodd Campbell? Wait, you like that country bumpkin? I didn't say that. Yet. Yet? I don't know what he did to catch your fancy, but what would Archduke Tristan say if he found out? That old geezer would have your head. Eleanor's gaze remained steady. I don't fancy him. God, like hell you don't, the girl shot back. Regardless of how he did it, he was treating you kindly, wasn't he? Normally you'd start off suspicious. You should be more careful, you know, as a lady of House Tristan. That's true, Eleanor conceded. But I just have to test him. It'll be fine if I observe him closely. Meanwhile, Dodd himself was receiving an irritatingly vague letter. Unfortunately, Dodd Campbell, we are currently unable to tell you your class. The academic team is in the middle of a project to obtain optimal results. You can expect good news in the future. Dodd grimaced. I don't want to expect anything, though. Just shove me in any old class and forget about me. Although, if we're going by the rules, shouldn't I be in the special class like Aaliyah's party? Why are they excluding me like this? At the freshman reception ceremony, where students' class specializations were assigned, be it archer, warrior, mage, priest, and so on, Dodd set his plan. Just like Elia used a sword, I'll go with a strength-focused build. That way, I'll end up with exclusive equipment materials that match it. The only problem was the timing. The final boss, the protagonist, and main quest events were all aligning at once. Something big's coming. Then, while reviewing his options, Dodd stumbled on something absurd. What the hell is this? Copy a skill? That's insane. I can copy the final boss's skills? He nearly laughed out loud. It'd be a complete waste to use this now. Eleanor might be at the top of the Academy's food chain at the moment, but just like Elia, she was a final boss who'd gain monstrous cheat skills later. No need to act prematurely. For now, I'll prep for the event happening in 3 days. Luckily, I know something that'll help me survive. Late that night, Dodd made his way to the old equipment warehouse. It's nice being able to use the point store, he murmured to himself, weaving through ancient relics and rusted armor. After slipping past each security measure, he finally arrived at what the SR tryhards called their treasure farming spot. It sounded like an in-game ad, but the results were real. He scanned the room. Now then, time to look around. Everything else he needed was there, but one relic in particular was crucial. Ultima of the Divinity, an ancient incense burner housing 1,000 years of stored power. Nice, found it. But of course, things had been going too smoothly. A low, irritated voice broke the silence. Urea? Before he could react, a figure appeared before him. Without thinking, Dodd scooped her up in his arms. There she was, Urea Greyhouncher, the boss of Chapter 2, infamous as the cursed sword goddess. The very item Dodd had just claimed was hers. It made sense she'd be hanging around its resting place. A warning flashed through his mind. Danger. Life-threatening. Dodd grimaced. Sorry for waking you up, but you see, the fight with Yuria began in an instant. Unlike his earlier duel with Aaliyah, this wasn't some academy match. This was life or death. Dodd's body screamed in protest with every movement, aching even with his X-rank strength. He knew exactly how lethal she was. Thankfully, he also knew how to avoid getting hit. There was a specific rule with Yuria, a distance of exactly 3.5 steps. Any enemy within that range would be cut down without hesitation. But in exchange, she couldn't take a single step forward. That was the cruel mechanism behind Yuria's curse, a prison of her own making. Yuria's voice was cold and unyielding. Can you take a step forward? Dodd tensed. So you can cut me? Yes. There was no escape, not in this cramped relic room, but then it hit him. This place was her personal isolation zone. No one came here, not even the teaching staff, which meant he had an opening. Do you want some biscuits? He offered, suddenly pulling out a packet. People were always hungry in situations like this after all. Yuria's eyes narrowed. I won't fall for simple tricks. Are you trying to bribe me with food? Despite the tension, Dodd almost laughed. She's cute. He sighed, relieved he wasn't cut in half. You really can't have a conversation with someone on an empty stomach. Phew, I almost died just now. Yuria eyed him warily. Anyway, who are you? Why are you here? I was asked to feed you. Someone I know told me to look after you. Someone you know? Dodd wasn't about to explain everything, but leaving things vague could be useful later. After all, in the original game, you didn't even meet Yuria this early. Might as well build some goodwill while he could. He softened his tone. Don't worry, your sister's doing fine in the Holy Empire. Her eyes flickered. The Emperor won't care about either of you for a while, but it goes without saying. You'll need to lay low for now. I'll be back. Yuria, cursed to wield a demonic sword and confined to this academy as its vessel, deserved at least a scrap of hope. She'd suffered enough. Elsewhere in the academy, a student guide pointed out landmarks. Now, that's the academy building, that's the gym, and that's the arcane building. You can see everything from up here, right? The freshmen gathered around. You'll need to choose your majors and minors at the reception ceremony happening in a couple of days. Knighthood, spellcraft, engineering, production, clergy. You know about these 5 departments? A student raised a hand. Does the tribal association share the same subjects as the Holy Empire? Yep, same as the Furnace of Battle and the Great Temple, so don't even think about transferring out, okay? Heh. I'll explain majors more later. It was a tutorial event, one Dodd couldn't skip. All the effort he'd poured into this life until now would be pointless if he missed something critical. Another student pointed ahead. Housemaster Ophelia, is that the famed Void Zone? Yes, she answered, but it's restricted. You'll be punished if you go there. The Void Zone, a remnant from the ancient war between heaven and hell. It was the place where God's messengers and their chosen warriors had sealed the demons away. Hundreds of years later, the clashing energies of death and divinity still roiled within. It was of such importance that the Holy Empire, Tribal Alliance, and the Empire itself had formed the Golden Triangle, a strategic alliance to monitor and protect the area. Elefante Academy was one of the key watch points. Another student asked eagerly, Housemaster Ophelia, can we at least get close? Just to take a look? She relented slightly. You may stay at the edge of the Seraph's protective barrier, nowhere beyond it. That barrier was no joke. Constructed by angels said to flip mountains and dry oceans and reinforced by a seraph, beings a rank above even angels. It was the only reason Elefante Academy could exist so close to such a cursed site. When lunchtime arrived, the group dispersed across the training field. Dodd approached one of the teachers. Can I eat a little further away? I feel uncomfortable here. The teacher glanced at him, remembering the recent rumors. You can't go far. You'll get into a lot of trouble. Yes, ma'am. Nearby, a group of students snickered. That country bastard's getting cocky now, just because he got a little attention. But Dodd paid them no mind. He had a plan. Unpacking his supplies, he carefully laid out the powdered horn of a unicorn, a feather from a phoenix, and a fan made from coral berry leaves. The preparations were complete. The Ultima of Divinity, a portable thurible he'd recovered earlier, was ready to be used. He double-checked everything. I came all this way just to use this. It'll let me reach beings normal people can't even dream of contacting. And with that thought, he ignited the incense, the ancient thurible's embers glowing a deep, otherworldly gold. The camp was a noisy mess of soldiers and workers, each buried in their own complaints. Someone shouted, asking where the Allied forces were supposed to be. Another snapped back, frustrated about a shoddy drainage job someone left half done. They blamed the Graysons, of course. Off in one corner, a group of laborers bickered over the meaning of flattening the ground, as a recruit dug out a trench with enthusiasm. One worker grumbled, "Look at that human over there. Been staring at us for a while now. Still, better than someone coming to nag us while we work." Another shrugged. "Why'd you stop? Move your shovel. No, stop digging in. Spread it out, idiot." A passing truck driver hollered, "Misters, the holly mud bricks are here. Come unload them." "How many?" someone asked. "An infinite amount," the driver shot back, stuffing a cloud cracker into his mouth as a girl nearby scolded him. "You're a driver, not a soldier. Save your strength for the wheel." "Hey, can't you see your sensors working? Hurry up," a man barked. "Private First Class Ezer. I'll handle it," someone offered before turning to ask a superior. "Captain, has the food shipment arrived yet?" The captain sighed. "It's lagging behind. They're fixing it now. Wait a bit." Dodd was nearby, fiddling with something. "Private First Class. Hey, it broke." There was a reason the angels of this world didn't just descend whenever they pleased. In this world, they operated like a strict military, a hierarchy of command and duty. Interacting with angels wasn't even possible until Chapter 2, and high-ranking ones much later. But Dodd knew what they wanted. It was something simple, basic, really. He bowed politely. "Whoa, thank you for the food." A cluster of angels watched him warily from afar, muttering amongst themselves. "He's still looking this way. What's that he brought? Sure is eating heartily. Can't we just ask for some?" "Forget it," one angel sighed. "You haven't even met the conditions to descend. Now hurry up and move those bricks." Dodd approached cautiously. "Mr. Angels, please eat before you wear yourselves out. You'll get hungry." A subtle light shimmered, offering transmission completed. "All right, 10-minute break," one angel called out. The others cheered quietly. Dodd grinned. "Are there only sweet rolls? There's steak too." One angel gave him an impressed look. What a sensible human. In this world, the laws differed from his own. One person's worth of food here could easily satisfy a dozen of these laboring celestial beings. A gruff voice piped up. "What a luxury, getting all this while on the job. Hey, hand me that thurible. You came here because you wanted something, didn't you? I'll bless it. Tell me what you want. Give me a reason. I'll see what I can do." Dodd blinked in surprise. All this without any negotiations? He'd prepared dozens of negotiation cards and alternate scenarios for this. Was there an easy route like this in the original game? He doubted it. "Why are you treating a nobody like me this well?" he asked carefully. "I can tell what you're thinking," the angel answered smoothly. "Insight," Dodd guessed. "A power to discern the true nature of someone just by looking." "You're well informed," the angel admitted. "You possess an ability, but you've failed to develop it. It will benefit you greatly in the future. You should invest in it now." Dodd's thoughts raced. Is he talking about my loved by evil trait? "That gift is far stronger than you think," the angel confirmed. "Though how you wield it is up to you. Because of it, you've already been caught by a cruel yet strangely friendly monster." Dodd cursed under his breath. Damn it, I knew it. Once he secured the thurible, his next step would be to chart all the survival routes available to him. This world wasn't kind to those without plans. "You're calmer than a normal human. Most would be struck dumb with fear in this place, but you're already strategizing. I see a great man in the making, the angel continued, finishing his blessing over the thurible. Ah, thank you, Dodd murmured. Another celestial asked, Sergeant, why are you telling a human this stuff? The angel ignored him. Believe in yourself, boy. At the very least, I acknowledge you. Dodd sighed. I'm just trying to survive. That's it. But it's an angel's warning. I'd better take it seriously. The blessing was useful. Constitution directly affected health, and with his desperate survival skill capable of blowing his stats through the roof in danger, this would be a valuable edge. In this world, traits and abilities could evolve. Anything that could be developed would naturally improve if nurtured properly. Receiving something like this so early was absurdly good luck. But he wasn't about to fool himself. It was still a pipe dream for a nobody like him. Without mana, he'd have to rely on clever temporary measures to get by. Isn't not paying attention your specialty? A soldier nearby teased. I was listening, Dodd replied quickly. Yeah? Then what was I talking about? You said we're supposed to form teams of 2. Good, so, where's your partner? She'll be here soon. Who would come for a guy as unpopular as you? I'm not lying, Dodd insisted. Also, this place is gonna get crowded real soon. What are you talking about? My partner's not just popular. You'll see. She should be here soon according to the story. And right on cue, Elia's voice called out. Hello, is this the Monster Research Department? Dodd smiled. Hi. Truthfully, he'd intended to avoid getting involved with the protagonist, but after that old angel's advice, he was reconsidering. Aaliyah gave him a curious look. Mr. Dodd? About what you said before, getting to know each other. Is that still good? Aaliyah's mind immediately flashed to Elnori's talk about jealousy, dating rumors, and warnings to stay away. Yet somehow, here she was. You're incredible, Master Dodd, she said dryly. Nothing you've tried has worked, so now you've resorted to the make them jealous strategy. I've only heard about it until now. Dodd stared at her, dumbfounded. Just how delusional is this woman? Ilya hesitated, glancing at Dodd with a flicker of doubt. Mr. Dodd, you're really sure about this? He shot her a wry grin. Have some faith. Didn't you want to be friends with me? You remember how you tried to beat me up the first time we met? Of course, she huffed, even though I was the one who got hit. Then if you want to be friends after that, do as I say. 9 o'clock, 3 in total. The enemies lunged, and she leapt into action, cutting them down. Dodd's voice stayed steady, warning her, 2 more from the ceiling. She barely reacted in time, dispatching them. Their weak point's the neck, Dodd instructed. Aim for their body, not the wings. Ilya's temper flared. Mr. Dodd, stop ordering me around and help me, will you? 2 daggers incoming, both sides, he called sharply. Fling them away. Hold out for 10 seconds. Ilya gritted her teeth, moving as he said. Good. Next is a paralytic poison. The ejector's on your right. Break it. She struck, shattering the device. Now, dodge 3 arrows from my side. 3, 2, 1. And now, behind you. Panting, Ilya ducked and twisted, avoiding the blow. If you know all this, wouldn't you fare better than me? We could get through this so much faster if we worked together. Dodd sighed. Look, I want to help, but I can't. I'm a garbage character with F-rank stats across the board. Desperate survival won't activate in a mock fight. There's no malice. These things follow preset actions. My skill's not all powerful. I need to raise my stats first. Ah, Master Dodd! She shrieked in frustration, and he winced, wondering if he was being too cruel. Still, it worked. What an incredible speed. You broke the previous record, he said, impressed. Alia blinked. What's going on? I fought alone and still broke a record? This stage was meant for 2. Just what's happening? Despite how it looks, I'm a try-hard at this game, Dodd admitted. We got lucky, I guess. Next area's tougher, but let's keep going. Good luck. Elsewhere, Percy observed their performance through a monitor, lips pursed in thought. They're doing pretty well. Looks like we'll need to allocate more funds to the mock battles next year. What do you think, Conrad? Conrad, seated beside him, didn't take his eyes off the screen. I guess so. Was this designed by your department? More importantly, Percy leaned forward. Looks like that woman, the next term's warrior candidate. She's progressing fast, very worthy of attention. Not her, Conrad replied. I mean Dodd Campbell. Percy scoffed. That swindler? Isn't he just mooching off the warrior candidate? And this, Conrad snapped, is what's wrong with you pen-spinning mages. Why are you picking a fight now? Conrad's tone sharpened. The warrior candidate wouldn't have been able to get a record like this alone. What? Any normal observer would say she's the stronger one, sure. But he's the key. His positioning, the way he gives orders with perfect timing, his ability to read the situation and follow up flawlessly, it's all calculated, as if he's been on countless battlefields. Percy narrowed his eyes. That's so? Let's make a bet. Conrad smirked. A moment later, a mic test sounded. Conrad's voice echoed through the training area. This is Conrad Valtadore of the Knighthood Department. After watching you two, the Dean of Spellcraft and I have decided to make a bet. The subject, whether you'll break the record we set as freshmen. If you succeed, I'll grant you one request, of Percy. Percy gaped. Why would he go that far? Conrad's voice softened. If you feel burdened, I won't force you. Your current record's already incredible. This request is near impossible to begin with. Dodd grinned. Ah, that's fine. We can definitely manage that much. Percy watched in disbelief as Conrad raised the stakes. I'll be betting on your success. Begin. At the same time, in a separate training hall, a girl sighed. Geez, what's going on with you? I get that you came here to clear your head, but you've been overdoing it. What's your problem? Elnora Tristan moved through a practiced sword form, her expression distant. There's something I wanted to remember. Something you wanted to remember? When I was young, my mother taught me these moves, Elnora muttered. I don't remember them anymore, so I've been going over them from scratch. There was a dark rumor that ran through the Tristan bloodline, of a demon lurking in their veins. It came with a double-edged inheritance, prodigious inhuman talent paired with occasional violent madness, degradation of sanity, and explosive outbursts. Many members of House Tristan had accomplished incredible things only for their later years to spiral into misery. It's not serious, is it? Her companion asked hesitantly. It's nothing to worry about. I don't think anything of it now. That's so. Then, I guess I'll just say it. She shifted awkwardly. It's about the information you asked me to report immediately. Elnor paused. Go on. I just heard this from a junior of mine, but Dodd Campbell is currently paired with the next term's warrior candidate. The next term's warrior candidate? Yeah, Elia Crixanax, the girl that fought Dodd. So you're saying the two of them teamed up? Elnor's eyes narrowed. Likely because the mock battle requires teams of two. I see. Elnor sheathed her practice sword. Take me there. But you just said you don't think anything of it, her friend reminded carefully. Elnor's expression was unreadable as she strode toward the exit. Aaliyah frowned, eyeing Dodd skeptically. What do you plan on doing? I'm well aware you're skilled, but even then, is it really worth challenging the all-time record? Dodd didn't hesitate. Yes. Her expression tightened. Your self-confidence is something else. Do you have a good enough reason for this? Of course he did, though it wasn't something he could tell her. That the artificial monsters followed fixed, predictable movement patterns, easy for him to exploit thanks to his prior knowledge. Instead, he offered a grin. Well, that's because you're here with me. Elia rolled her eyes. I can't believe you. Conrad's voice crackled through the announcement system. This is Conrad. Are you ready? I've been ready, Dodd replied. Perfect. Now, it's possible to adjust the difficulty for the final session, but you'll earn bonus points the higher you set it. Set it to the highest. The faculty watching from the control room flinched. Percy muttered in disbelief. I don't believe these freshmen. I like the energy, but this is reckless. The highest difficulty is practically real combat. There's a chance they could die. Even so, Conrad said firmly, I believe there's value in seeing it through. Let's meet his demand. Dodd looked to Elia. Don't worry, warrior candidate. It's already spilled water. Percy groaned. I can't believe you, Conrad. You act like this is new. Didn't we do the same for our last freshman class? That was different. This time, they could really die. We'll see, Professor Percy. I'm sure he has a reason for being so confident. And if things get too dangerous, we just step in and save them. Conrad gave the command. All right. Slaughter Ode is activated. Prove yourself, freshman. Elia gritted her teeth. Ah, damn it. Let's go. Dodd sighed. Our club's done for. The danger detection system blared a warning. Life-threatening danger detected. The fight was on. Dodd moved first, slashing down a monster with calculated precision. Conrad's excitement was barely contained. I knew it! That's what I was waiting for! Did you see that, Percy? Elia, watching Dodd move, felt a cold realization dawn. Dodd. I knew it. Wait, how is that possible? He was completely useless before. Was he pretending? Conrad leaned back smugly. I don't blame you. I'd have reacted the same way if I hadn't seen his change in skill before. As time passes, the monsters grow stronger, and so does he. It means they're growing together. Meanwhile, Dodd and Elia fought through the horde, steadily advancing. Now, Dodd! Elia called out. He responded immediately. Tristan's sword technique! La Volpe! Their blades moved in perfect tandem. It was a display of incredible power and precision. Dodd Campbell and Elia Crixanax cutting through the last of the monsters. The final blow struck. Silence followed. The record had been shattered. Conrad stepped onto the field, a wide grin on his face. Bravo! It seems you've set an unbreakable record, one that won't be touched for years. To think we'd get a freshman duo capable of clearing the artificial monsters of Elefante like cutting grass. Thank you for your efforts, warrior candidate. He turned to Percy with a smirk. I win, Percy grumbled. Must be nice. Their reward came swiftly. Permission to rent one item from the Vision Warehouse and the right to ask the Dean of Spellcraft for any favor. Elia's eyes lit up. This is amazing, Dodd agreed, knowing full well this wasn't something any ordinary freshman would have access to. As they walked away, Elia glanced over. By the way, Dodd, I've noticed something about you. He feigned ignorance. What do you mean? No matter what happens, you always seem so calm. It's like you already know how everything will turn out. Or as if it's just how you planned it. There's a nuance to the way you act. Of course. Because I did know all this, you idiot. But aloud, he only smiled. What? She narrowed her eyes, then grinned and extended her fist. Hey, don't all guys do this with their friends? He stared at the offered fist, surprised. Seriously? They bumped fists. All right, Elia said, heading off. See you tomorrow, Dodd. He watched her go, unsure if she was too friendly or just plain odd. Either way, it worked for him. And then, as he turned a corner, he spotted her. Student Council, President Elnore, standing in his path, watching. Elnor stood before him, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Do you like that, huh? Dodd blinked, caught off guard. What? Oh, her? His thoughts spun fast. Since desperate survival wasn't activating, it looked like she wasn't about to murder him. Isn't it obvious? I'm not her boyfriend or anything. But Elnor wasn't letting this go. I'll repeat myself once. Do you like that freshman? His danger sense flared. Danger detected. He felt he had to say something, anything to ease this. Student president, Dodd began awkwardly. What? Well, although I've been training with Elia this whole time, he was already regretting opening his mouth. I wanted to see you. Elnor's eyes narrowed. Why suddenly? What are you doing, Dodd? There's no way that would work out, you idiot. So you're saying you missed me this entire time? Yeah, he managed to say. That's correct. Why? Why indeed? Dodd's brain scrambled for an answer. Well, I wonder why. What the hell's wrong with me? Forget it, Elnor cut in. Maybe this is one of those friendships. I get it. It's because I saved you on that train, right? Just remember the priority listing. Priority listing? What's she talking about? Don't worry about it, she added. I was here to give you this. Dodd took the envelope, eyeing it like it might bite. A love letter? A challenge? What is this? Nothing like this happened in the original story. I was planning to give it to you tomorrow, but make sure you open it when you're alone, Elnora added, before walking away. Later, alone, Dodd stared at the letter. I shouldn't have opened it. She wants me to be her partner? Tomorrow's the freshman welcome party. I completely forgot. Becoming her partner wouldn't be a huge problem. It'd just mean sticking close to her at the event. The issue was the penalty if he refused. Not only would her affection level plummet, but it might turn her hostile. That priority list sounded dangerous. There was a knock. He opened the door, already guessing. I thought it'd be you. Aaliyah grinned. You catch on pretty quick, Teach. Here. She shoved something into his hands. He stared. This again? What do you mean again? Did someone else give one to you? No, I meant, what's this? His heart dropped. I almost died right there. Don't tell me she's also here with a request. What do you think? A surprise. I made up my mind during the mock battle. Elia's tone was too cheerful. I'll have to run, thanks to those weird rules the student council made. Hurry up and read it. She bolted before he could say another word. Dodd groaned. Why are there so many weird people in this world? He looked down at the letter. I think it's another partner request. No. If it's Elia, it could be a challenge. But she mentioned it was a surprise. Damn it. It's a partner request. The final boss versus the main character? This wasn't supposed to happen in the original story. Why couldn't they give me an easier choice? If I pick Elnor, I'll be seen as a villain by the main character. If I pick Elia, I might die because of that priority list, or whatever it is. What if I refuse both? I don't know what'll happen. This must have happened because both of them are still at the interested stage. A problem. Should I accept both? At the freshman welcome party, the instructor was guiding students. Class C, right this way. Where's the last kid from Class C? Are they in the bathroom? Hey, aren't you from Class A? A student confirmed. I'm from Class A. The instructor nodded. Professor, they're right here. Elia sighed. Whew, there's a lot of people. This is a complete pig's pen. Anyway, thanks, Dodd, for coming with me. One of the guys nearby spotted Dodd with Elia. A notification pinged in Dodd's head. Clone Walker. Gain the ability to create a clone of the original. Buffs will be applied. Dodd sighed. I had to use all my points. Though it's just a temporary stand-in, this might work. Event. Double date. Caution. Do not get caught. Even with so many people around, this could go badly if someone saw me and the clone together. I'll use the cold gentleman option to shut him up if needed and... A sudden commotion. An attack. Dodd pushed through. Get out of my way. It was a monster from the outside. Looked like someone planned to test it out in here, he calculated quickly. Then I'll escape, start the main event, and all I need to do is survive alongside Elnora and Elia. Shouldn't be too bad. Elnor appeared beside him. There you are. Oh, student president. What's this smell? Did you spray something? No, the flowers here just happen to smell nice. She leaned in, frowning. I can tell it's from you, but this scent is driving me crazy. Dodd could hardly believe what he was hearing. The hell do you mean, pheromones? A system notification confirmed it. The pheromone effect had activated on Elnore. Worse, she was consciously trying not to get too interested in him. Elnor took a deep breath, a strange look in her eye. Phew, I wonder why I didn't notice it until now. But you're manlier than I thought. No, please stop. Dodd cringed internally. He had to change the subject fast. Why don't we head to the event? We could take a look at the nearby stalls. How about it? Take the lead, freshman. Right about now, his clone should have met up with Elia. I need to make sure I don't bump into them. If I keep Elnora distracted, maybe nothing will happen. All he and the clone needed to do was escort both girls separately without incident. Hey, why don't we grab something to eat? He suggested, pointing to a snack stall. Sure, Elnor agreed easily. Dodd pointed to the wild boar skewers. This is the worst possible recommendation for someone like Elnor, who cares about her figure. Should help cool down those pheromones a little. To his horror, Elnor's eyes lit up. How did you know I like these? Is it just a coincidence? It is, he lied flatly. Seriously? She likes this too? Him. Dodd, she prodded, noticing he wasn't eating. He forced himself to eat while keeping track of the clone's position. I need to maintain this balance. Keep her close enough not to be suspicious, but far enough to keep Elia away. They passed a small stall selling accessories. Elnor glanced at him. Looks like they sell accessories here. Hey, freshman, do you need anything? No, but let me buy something for you. Buying Elnor a gift? No way. I need to lower her affection score, not raise it. He picked out the ugliest button he could find. This button. It's nice, isn't it? Elnor, to his dismay, smiled. Actually, I needed a button for one of my uniforms. This'll do. Damn it. This is going to be harder than I thought. A pause settled between them. Then Elnor spoke up. Now that I think about it, what did you plan to major in? I've decided on theology. Elnor looked surprised. Theology? Why don't you rethink that? With your talent, it would be a waste if you didn't join the knighthood. There's something I want to learn in the theology department. Dodd knew he had to stick to this route. I chose this for a reason. A thing you want to learn? In order to protect what's precious to me, I need to learn something there. What is it you want to protect? My life and your downfall, Dodd thought. Holy skills were crucial to his survival and the ending he wanted, but he couldn't say that. Since I was little, there's been something I want to protect. Elnor looked at him knowingly. Does it have to do with why you're so involved with me? I'm well aware of the Tristan family curse. Yes, the one that drives all our family members to madness eventually. Isn't the only way to stop that through mental training? She gave a humorless smile. Are you aware of its real solution? The angel's blessing. A miracle where two archangels bestow their blessing on one person, or so they say. Exactly. It's nearly impossible. That's why, no matter our accomplishments, the Tristans are always feared. So how are you able to stay so close to me? Why are you always there when someone tries to assassinate me? What are your intentions? Dodd sighed. This thing I want to protect is you. She stared at him. What am I to you that you want to protect me? If I don't protect you, I'll die. It was the truth, nothing more. I knew it from the start, Elnor said quietly. But you really are an odd man. I've been told that plenty of times. He'd told her everything, no lies, hoping it would be enough to satisfy her curiosity. What an odd man. Meanwhile, in another corner of the academy, Aaliyah fidgeted uncomfortably. Is he mad at me? Why isn't he talking much? The realization struck her. She was somewhere she hadn't meant to be. Wait, how did we end up in the basement? Curious and uneasy, she looked around. The place was crawling with live monsters, used for the Academy's secret experiments. These professors, leaving dangerous monsters in a place like this? It's insane. Some larger creatures loomed in the dim light. Wait, they're not tied down? One lunged. Before she could react, Clone Dodd threw himself between her and the monster, taking a burning hit to the back. Why? She gasped. It's my job. What do you mean? He fought the monster off, moving with efficient, desperate speed. Anyway, thank you for protecting me, Aaliyah said quietly. Now it's my turn to protect you. The academy grounds were chaos. A sudden outbreak of monsters, breaking free from the underground, had triggered an emergency main quest: resolve the situation or suffer a severe scenario penalty if too many students died. The reward for success, an exclusive equipment material. But none of that mattered to Dodd right now. He rushed through the panicked crowd, urgency in every step. President, I need you to find one of the priests. Elnor started to speak, but Dodd cut her off. Please, we have to protect the students. Without waiting for a reply, he darted off. A notification pinged as his clone was retrieved. He found Elia amidst the wreckage, bruised but alive. You're awake. Thank God, she exhaled. A soft glow appeared in his vision. Status window. Aaliyah Crixanax's affection level has increased. The main scenario has been altered. Dodd quickly scanned the area. I missed one of the larger monsters. The bear from before, that must be it. Aaliyah, exhausted, tried to steady herself. It should be somewhere on the first floor. We should be able to stop it quickly, I think. I'll take a break. Are you okay? He asked, seeing how shaken she was. But he couldn't afford to stay. The main scenario came first. Failing here would trigger a severe penalty. Somewhere nearby, a voice shouted orders to hold out until the professors and knights arrived and to reinforce the barrier. Neither Chancellor nor Professor Conrad were on site. A priest, flustered, muttered anxiously. Even if that's the case, we can't use the angel's blessing. Elnor shot him a glare. You call yourself a priest? There are students out there. Those are harsh words for a professor, Ms. Elnor, the priest snapped back. A high-level barrier like the angel's blessing isn't something just anyone can invoke. The knights will be here soon. We'll wait for them. This is exactly why I protested giving the Tristan family authority for these monster experiments. But Dodd was already moving. I'll handle it. You better not be serious, the priest blurted out. You're a mere student. Do you even know what a blessing is? Elnor's voice cut in, startled. Dodd! A flicker of light engulfed his hands as the ultima of divinity combined with a priest's discarded rosary nearby. New skills unlocked, asceticism, holy shield. The system detected a life-threatening situation. Desperate survival activated. Rank S. He lunged at the massive beast, his barrier shimmering. Why aren't you running? The priest barked at him. I'll buy time. Get the students out of here. A new alert flashed. All additional stats converted into constitution. He stood alone against the monster, barrier projected in defiance of its massive strength. Gasps sounded around them. Is that the angel's blessing? More voices followed, shocked. How can a student use that? The priest was aghast. That idiot doesn't even know official priests need years of prayers to use it. Elnor, however, wasn't surprised. After everything that's happened, this doesn't shock me anymore. I've seen him hide his real strength countless times. The priest stammered, confused. How is that stupid monster not breaking a simple barrier, and that idiot student's the one maintaining it? Elnor's patience snapped. Are you really a professor? You're not even helping! A sharp crack sounded as Elia appeared and knocked the priest out cold. Forgive me, student president. He was clearly useless to us. What took you so long? Elnor asked. I was passed out in the basement. I just got up here, Elia replied. Forget that. That guy, Dodd, using a blessing like that on the spot, when he's not even a battle priest. It said you need at least 10 years of training. How is this possible? Elnor thought back to the conversation they'd had earlier, about theology, the Tristan curse, and Dodd's desperate determination to protect something precious. That's what he was after in theology. That's why he needed holy skills, Aaliyah continued, her voice laced with frustration. Even if it's a stored blessing, he shouldn't be able to control this much of it. Must be nice for you. What are you talking about? Elnor asked quietly. He's doing all of this for the Tristan family. For you. There's no other reason he'd put himself through this. Elnor felt a pang of guilt twist in her chest. I had this feeling from the start. She reached for her sword, strapping her belt tight, ready to fight beside him. You really are a strange individual. The battle inside the academy raged on, an intensive clash of sword, spell, and desperate survival. Elnor fought like a tempest, cutting through the monstrous horde with elegant, precise movements, the unmistakable Tramanata technique of the Tristan family on full display. Dowd watched her work, struggling to keep up as he fought alongside Aaliyah and the other students. Is that the real Tristan sword technique? He thought, bewildered. Compared to his half-baked, self-learned imitation, what Elnor displayed was something else entirely. Lethal, flawless, and frighteningly beautiful. It didn't make sense. In the original game events, Elnor had no part in this crisis. The professors pushing for live monster experiments were all Tristan loyalists, and her involvement now meant acknowledging the scandal of her own family. Elnor had never cared for political games, so why was she here, throwing herself into this mess for them? He gritted his teeth. No time for this. End the quest first, untangle motives later. Is everyone out? He shouted. Yes, Elnor called back, catching her breath. Everyone managed to get out. It's over, he sighed. Then her expression darkened. Behind you. Dodd barely had time to turn before something slammed into him from behind, sending him crashing to the ground. Everything went dark. When he opened his eyes, the ceiling above him was unfamiliar, a high, vaulted chamber lit by soft, pale light. A figure loomed at his bedside. You're awake? The voice belonged to none other than the Chancellor herself. The monsters! Elnor? Dodd rasped. The monsters have been defeated. Elnori's fine too, Dodd Campbell. His eyes widened. Chancellor Adelante? Yes, she smiled faintly. All the students made it out safely as well. Surprised to see me visiting you? He tried to play it off. Not at all. I'm fine. But inside, his thoughts spun wildly. Adelante Swansong, the immortal of 1,000 years. Why would someone like her visit me? Could it be because of the angel's blessing I used? She regarded him with a steady gaze. I came to share some bad news, and some even worse news. Which would you like first? He sighed. The bad news. The bad news is, you're currently the most talked about student this academy has ever had. No one else has been involved in as many accidents and incidents as you. From what I've seen of your bad luck, you'll keep getting caught in the crossfire of these events. I don't intend for any of that to happen, he muttered. And yet it does, Adelante said, not unkindly. As for the other piece of bad news, how much do you know about the demon? Dodd stiffened at the mention of the demon. He tried to mask the way his pulse spiked, keeping his voice even as he replied, asking about it. Adelante, the Chancellor, chuckled softly. His reaction, or rather his lack of fear, clearly amused her. You don't seem the least bit worried, Dodd Campbell, even though the president of the academy is bringing up something like this. But Dodd was cautious. I can't reveal how much I actually know. Not yet. I don't know what kind of schemes someone like her might be running behind the scenes. What do you mean, scheming? She asked with a smile, though her gaze sharpened. Dodd sighed, feigning annoyance. I'm the only one here who hasn't been assigned a class yet. I can't even attend lectures. If nothing else, you should be a little annoyed by that too. The Chancellor gave a weary nod. Thanks to all the recent chaos, I've had to do more damage control than you can imagine. I'm not sure if you realize it, but right now, the current hegemony barely has any grip on the continent. The timing couldn't be worse. They'll do anything to recruit talent, even if it means dragging them straight out of hell. Dodd immediately made the connections in his head. The coup that crushed the tribal association, the restructuring of the Holy Empire, the throne's uncertain successor, all of these have triggered a chain of events. He spoke his thoughts aloud and saw the flicker of recognition in Atalante's expression. Exactly, she confirmed. The Golden Triangle. They might seem like good neighbors now, but under the surface, the hunt for the best talents is already at its fiercest. Most students here are blissfully unaware. Thanks to that, the entire continent's shifting without them noticing. Dowd's thoughts sharpened. Elefante. Every event I've been dragged into should have already attracted outside attention, but no one's moved yet, which means someone's forcibly blocking the flow of information. Atalante's expression flickered again, impressed. Politically sharp, too, she thought. Dodd crossed his arms. If that's the case, then it would be dangerous for me to attract attention right now. She gave a small, serious nod. Yes, dangerous enough to end the world. Without pausing, she held out a strange, rune-etched object. Do you recognize this seal? Of course he did. He'd already known it before this moment. The seal of the Purifiers. A demonic cult working from the shadows, bent on bringing forth demons to destroy this world. The recent assassination attempt on Elnore and the escaped monster incident, both were likely orchestrated by them. All their strikes targeted the Tristan family. Adelante's voice dropped. There's no guarantee it won't happen again, and that's why I'm telling you this. Dodd's eyes narrowed. Why me? I can't explain it, not yet, but I want you to take this. She handed him another object, a gleaming interdimensional key, a powerful, balance-breaking item capable of opening doors to other worlds. One Dodd never thought could be acquired this early in the story. She caught his shocked expression and gave a knowing smile. Ah, judging from your face, you know exactly what this is. Take care of it. Show me what you can do. If I like what I see, I might even offer a few more gifts. And everything we discussed stays between us. Her tone turned casual again. How's it going with the warrior candidate and Lady Tristan? Why does she have to bring that up now? Dodd thought, frowning. We're managing. I hope you stay that way, she said. Why? He asked warily. Is there some reason I have to? Adelante's reply came without hesitation. Yes, because if you don't, the world will end. Dodd groaned and clutched his head. Why does this world keep ending so easily? She laughed at his misery. I'm not lying. The final goal of our plan, it hinges on you three. He sighed, trying to process what the hell that even meant. The end of the world, again? I'll think about it later, but I didn't expect her to hand me this interdimensional key. This shouldn't even be possible for a player to get at this stage. Something seriously wrong with the main scenario. Just then Conrad appeared. There you are. Dodd glanced up, caught between dread and weariness. Professor Conrad? I've been looking for you, Conrad said, arms crossed. Dodd groaned. Why? Even if you haven't been officially assigned a class yet, I can't just let you wander around unsupervised. So starting tomorrow, you'll be attending classes with these people. He dropped a list in front of Dodd. Class President, Elnore Alina Rizla Tristan. Vice President, Elia Crixanax. Dodd looked at the paper, then to Conrad. He opened his mouth and bellowed to the ceiling. The end of the world is near. To be continued. We'll cover the next story very soon. Stay tuned. If you like the story, let me know in the comments.